purpose of wealth should be to create wellness and welfare in society. Words of wisdom from our master. Hello everyone, my name is Hassan Tafti and I warmly welcome all of you to the third episode of Samipya, where we will talk about corporate social responsibility. Our first guest for today holds a postgraduate degree in international economics from Mumbai University. He started his career with Tata Exports, and after a decade, he set up his own export consultancy firm. He has been associated with the foundation since the year 2000, and since then, he's been involved in various capacities with the foundation. He is currently the CEO and board member of the International Association for Human Values, which specializes in CSR activities with corporate entities. He's a very wonderful person at heart, full of humor, a very wonderful person to know. So please let us all welcome our dear friend, Mr. Ramesh Ramanji.
Okay, thank you, Hassan. Before I start, I'll give you a brief background of what IHP does. India is the only country which has made CSR mandatory in a sense. 2% of the company's profits had to be spent on CSR activities, and what is CSR is also mandated by law. So this is a very unique case where companies have to spend on social projects. So this was done in the year 2014-15, and since then a lot of companies, especially the big ones and the multinationals, have taken up this task very seriously. So that has helped very genuine NGOs like ours to tap funds for CSR activities and become companies partners in implementing projects all across the country. So we at IHP decided to basically concentrate on what we call as the 5 E's on education, energy, environment, empowerment, and emergency relief. Emergency relief being one of the core activities for which IHP was formed in the year 2000. So any disaster, man-made or otherwise, which happens anywhere in the country, IHP is always one of the first to go there and take up the relief activities. So to that, we also added the other 4. So it sort of widely encompasses the social activities which are necessary in the Indian context. So as I said, we started in the year 2015 with a few companies, and today we are dealing with more than 100 corporate entities, doing about 250 projects in 18 states across the country. I will just briefly go through some of the important projects under each head. In education, we take up either municipal, government or Jilla Parishad schools, look into their infrastructure. School you walk into today, you will see the benches are not all right, drinking water is not there, sanitation facility is not there. So those are the first things that we take up to make the school a little bit more welcome, both for the teachers and the students. The software aspects like e-learning, training the teachers, helping the students with the latest in terms of computers, and helping them to see how best to use the modern internet facilities to increase the teaching and learning abilities.
Wow.
So one of our
major these I believe are government schools that you're talking of, which are equipped with all these facilities.
Yeah, we take up only government schools or Jilla Parishad schools or municipal schools, which offer free education to the needy and the underprivileged people from the society.
It's really amazing that you are doing all of this work, because the image that we have about government schools, thanks to commercial cinema and all, they show like a rack or some broken desk and benches somewhere, but you guys have really gone and changed that entire thing over there. You've really gone and changed the image of, so it'll be wonderful to be seeing computers and
Yeah, definitely. Yes, a lot of government schools have changed over the last, I would say, 8 to 10 years. I mean, today if you see Delhi government schools, the results are better in CBSE than the private schools. So,
Oh my
I
goodness.
mean,
Wow.
so a
Wow.
lot of changes are definitely taking place. And I think what was lacking was the lack of opportunities for the children. And you give them the opportunity, and they are as good as any highly paid private schools, which
This
people in
is
the urban areas send their children to.
this is so
Uh,
true. This is so true.
to
It
give
was
you a
really
very
high time
small
that even
example,
these, it was high time that these children get that exposure, they get that opportunity, they get the platform to make a mark for themselves. Remarkable, Rameshji. Great work.
exactly, exactly. Just to give you a small example, a small school in Vadlewadi, which is in Shirur Taluka, when we went to that school, they had only 40 children, but the principal was so progressive. I mean, he sought us out and made sure that he wanted only a projector in the beginning, and he said he will take the projector only if we come to his school. So we went all the way to his school, which is about 40 kilometers from Pune, and what we found was an eye opener for us. The way they teach, the way they groom the children. There are 40 children, and he said, I can't take more children because there is no space. So what we saw we went with the people from BNY, Bank of New York Mellon over there. And what they wanted was 4 rooms initially. So we said we'll build those 4 rooms, but let us have a look into the future also and see what kind of capacity is needed to be created. So based on that, the principal spoke to the villagers, and they donated 1.5 acres of land. So today we have built a school which looks more like a resort. I will send you the photograph later on. And from
Wow. How blessed are these children? How blessed are the children of these villagers who are, you've created an environment where they feel like they're studying in a resort, they feel at home, they feel comfortable and relaxed. So beautiful.
And as I said, it has got a waiting list of 2,000 children right now. And
Oh
this was one
my,
of the first
wow.
schools to be declared as an international school by the government of Maharashtra.
My God, that
So
deserves really,
yeah,
really deserves a big round of applause, Rameshji. I'm curious to know
yeah.
in what span of time you converted this 40 student school into a school which has a waiting list of 2,500 students. In what span of time was this conversion possible, Rameshji?
So as I said, we entered the school in 2015, and 2018 the whole thing was completed, and they have waiting list. Not only that, every Saturday, Sunday, about 2 to 3,000 people visit this school from other parts of Maharashtra to see what
Oh
they
my
have done.
goodness.
And it is the children who take around the visitors, show them everything over there. The children have participated in an international robotics competition which was held in Pune recently, and they won an award over there. So as I said, given the opportunities, I think every child is equal in terms of their capacity to learn and take their education forward.
Wow, what a brilliant work, Rameshji. This is huge blessings. This is like really, really, this is the best thing that we could have done for that village children. I mean, so remarkable is this. This was just like you rightly pointed out, it was simply lack of opportunities there. Otherwise, they are also unique in their own ways, in their way of learning. So brilliant. Imagining, it's
Absolutely,
just yeah, it's just so beautiful that a rural school has developed into an international school. Remarkable. Very good. Wonderful.
absolutely. So now we are trying to, I mean, you cannot sort of do the infrastructure everywhere, money is needed. So what we are trying to do now is to take the teaching methods to other schools. So we got a lot of corporate sponsors. So 10 schools in Aurangabad have been identified. So we train the teachers, train the principal in the school and send them back over there. Or we are training about 10 volunteers who can go there and train the teachers. The idea is to see how this system can spread. So it is in Aurangabad, Mahad, Pune, Mumbai. We are trying to spread this method of their ideology and the method how they help them implement in other schools across Maharashtra and other states.
Rameshji, if I may ask a question, that to really scale up the school in terms of their premises, in terms of their infrastructure, in terms of their teaching modalities and equipment and computers? What are the costs that you're typically looking at?
See, there are two aspects to it. One is the infrastructure aspect, one is the soft skill, which is the teaching aspect. So if you want to improve follow the teaching methods that Wavlewadi school does, not much of money is required. It will run into a few lakhs, maybe 4 to 5 lakhs, just improving the basic infrastructure in the school. But if you want to do the total infrastructure of number one, space is required, a minimum of 2 acres, 2.5 acres. And then depending on the local conditions, anything between say 1 crore to 2 crores of rupees will be required to, which is not really very high, which is not really difficult to find if the teachers are interested, if the parents are interested. I think one more important aspect is the cooperation of the villagers and the parents into the whole aspect,
Absolutely.
which is a must, which is a must. Without that, you really cannot proceed to do these kind of changes. And we are only a catalyst. I mean, they are the ones who have to take it forward later on. We can't be there 24/7. We can just push them a little bit, and then it is up to them to take it forward. That's the whole model that we follow.
Beautiful, most beautiful. One last question I had about this school that you spoke near Pune. So now, how many standards does the school have? Like it's from primary to it goes up to?
Yeah, it's right from the kindergarten level to 8th standard. There is a very strange rule in government circles where ZP schools can only be up to 8th standard. So now
Wow.
we have come to a stage where students are passing out of 8th standard and they don't want to go to another school. So we sent a few and they came back within few days, they came back to the school. So we are going to try out a system. Of course, we tried our best with the government to give us permission for 9th and 10th, which was refused. So as per the rules. So now these students are going to study in the same school and appear as private students in the 10th standard, which is allowed. So once we get the results, with those results, they're going to go back to the government and say, look, this is what we have done. So this is what are the potential for your Zilla Parishad schools. So why don't you give us permission for the 9th and 10th standard?
Wow. You've got some tedious work ahead of you, but our best wishes, Rameshji. I really, really hope you're possible in this because you are really shaping the lives of so many kids out there. Wow, it's really wonderful. And what amazes me now, I realize is that it were 7 and 8 standard students who participated in an international robotics program. That is really fascinating. That is really amazing. Wow, great work, great work. Yeah, Rameshji, thank you for the inspiration, but we want to hear a little bit more from you.
Yeah, sure. So one is, since you are all in Pune, you are welcome to visit that school anytime. Even during this COVID, when all the schools are closed, is one of the few schools which are doing their studies in a remote way. We gave them 15 laptops. They have formed study groups. So nothing is lost during this COVID period, just for the first 2 weeks. So they have covered all their portions well in time, and they are just ahead of time, I would say, right now in their coverage of portions in the school.
This is exemplary work. This is really exemplary work. Wow. I would personally like to visit those schools. Really, those students are like really our future role models. They are like role models for the remaining. I would say they are role models for the city kids. Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So you are welcome anytime. You just let us know once the lockdown is lifted.
Sure.
Yeah, now, as I said, we're trying to take this teaching model or the pedagogy, as they say, to other schools, so that at least the pedagogy can spread. So we have got schools in Nandurbar, we've got schools in Aurangabad, we've got schools in Pune rural areas, schools in Nasik, schools in Mahad, altogether around 55 to 60, all Jilla Parishad schools where this pedagogy is being tried out and will be implemented soon. Of course, all the schools are closed right now, so we need the students at least for some time physically to and the teachers together to train them up. So once the schools reopen within a few months, we'll start that. So this is a small part of the education, and there are other parts. We are Hyderabad. We have built a youth school, a school which was operating under tin shed. Now has got a big building of 20,000 square feet. This was again done with CSR funding. And this is our Sri Sri Gyan Mandir school, where about 700 students are studying. So this building enabled them right to go up to 10th standard, trying to go to 12th standard also over there. We built a small kitchen for the daily food and other needs. So these are some of the education projects which have taken up. The other is environment, where we do.
Ramesh, one second before we
yeah.
wind up with the education thing. I'm curious to know. So in these schools, do we also teach them a little bit about pranayams, yoga, meditation, along with their mainstream curriculum?
Yeah. Art Excel is a very integral part of the whole school program.
Wow.
So all the children do the Art Excel programs. The teachers do the happiness program. Many teachers have done the advanced course also. So that is very much an integral part of the whole program. So we don't sort of insist it initially. Then they themselves ask what other programs of Art of Living is there. This school has tied up. It's a sister school with a school in Sweden. So once this lockdown period and everything is over, students from Ablewadi will be going to Stockholm for about 15 days as exchange students. And students from Stockholm have already come and spent 15 days here before the lockdown. So they also send another in Vablewadi.
So students from Stockholm have come and spent time in Vablewadi. Wow, this is and students from here are going to go. Oh my God, this is going to be amazing. The journey from Vablewadi to Stockholm. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh my God, some great work happening.
Principal and one teacher have already been to Stockholm, spent a few days over there. So unfortunately, due to COVID and lockdown, the exchange team could not go. But once that is lifted, they'll definitely be going from here.
Wow. This is going to be one trip the kids are going to remember, and they're so fortunate that at this age in their schooling years, they have these exchange programs. They get exposure to international standards. This is really brilliant. Really wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. Remarkable work, Rameshji. I've become a huge fan of your work already. And I still have to hear about the work you've done in environment and other areas.
Yeah. So we go to environment part right now. It's basically comprises of two things. One is plantation of trees on a pan-India basis. And second is water conservation works. So like in any village you walk in today, water is a big issue. And so we try to solve the water issue at the village level itself, so that the benefits accrued to the beneficiaries, they are able to see it, and then they're able to implement the projects. Becomes easier for us. The participation of the villagers are there. So any village we go, we identify the water bodies which were existing and which have been sort of stopped flowing due to various reasons, due to dumping or whatever reason. So with the help of the panchayat, we identify this X water body, desil them, which is basically clearing them up to a certain level, so that the idea is when rain falls, the water should be accumulated there rather than water just flowing away. So water gets accumulated. Once water gets accumulated at that spot, and as you know, it starts percolating downwards. So the groundwater level table increases and water also spreads, making all the fields more fertile. The soil becomes more fertile. So within a span of say one monsoon period, we normally start the desilting before the monsoons. So if it rains well, within the monsoon 4 to 5 months, the desilted area becomes full, and within a span of 6 months, the villagers are able to see the difference. And we have seen areas where they have been able to double the crops. From one crop, they've been able to take 2 crops. So automatically their income doubles and the standard of living goes up. Beautiful. So they in turn become the change agents themselves. And every village we ensure that a group of villagers do the YLTP program. So from the YLTP, 5 or 6 youth are selected, and they become the change agents over there. So this water for agriculture then turns to water for drinking. So we install either RO filtration plants or any other system which is suitable for them. And just by installation of these water filters, we have seen the health of the whole village improving. because they drink this muddy water or dirty water, which leads to kidney stones. In many villages where doctors were practicing, they had to stop their practice because they didn't find enough patients after we did the work over there.
Oh my
Because
God.
just
Oh
by
my
provision
God.
of clean drinking water, the health conditions improved. So the next step is sanitation. So any villages we ensure that they also have 100% sanitation facilities. This is done in collaboration with the village panchayat and the beneficiary, which is the households. They also have to contribute a part of it, and then we build toilets for them. So each household will have a toilet. There is no system of common toilets anymore, nor open defecation over there.
Wow.
So in a group of about, if I talk only about Shirur Taluka, we are done in about 30 villages, and all these 30 villages have benefited from whatever I've just spoken right now. And this we are taking into other districts, other talukas, other states. We have started in Aurangabad in a big way. We have started in Mahad in a big way, the water conservation works. And the best part is that villagers themselves start taking part in it, and all the maintenance part is done by them. Our job is just to initiate and then sort of involve them and make sure they also contribute in terms of Shramdan or by way of money. And then only then the belongingness is established. And then once the work is done, we withdraw from the village totally, except maybe visiting once for 3 months or 4 months. And the people themselves take care of everything in the villages.
Wow. Wow. So you create a sustainable model over there. You create a sustainable village over there.
Exactly. That is the
Rameshji,
whole idea. Yeah.
Rameshji, if I had to ask you, you don't have to, you may not have the answer for this, but I'm still going to ask you, how many farmers have been directly affected, positively affected by this initiative? I know it's a big,
I
it's
would
a difficult question to remember.
they would run into at least a lakh or more, I would say, easily.
Wow, this is amazing. Over a lakh farmers have been affected by this. Wonderful job, Rameshji. Brilliant. This is extraordinary. Great. Wow, thank you so much for the inspiration, Rameshji. Looking at your work that you're doing, everything else looks so small, really. You're affecting lakhs of farmers, thousands of students. Every other thing appears so small, Rameshji. You're doing some brilliant work. Great. Tell us more, Rameshji, please.
Yeah. So this model we are trying to, we are now taking into other states, and it has worked well. So we got donors not only from Indian companies but also people from abroad who are donating to this cause. Especially people settled abroad who are from, say, for example, from Latur or from Shirur or from Telangana or any other state. So they have their own associations abroad. So these people get together and donate large sums of money for development in their own states. So this also helps us a lot in funding the projects within India.
मानो एक तरह की देशभक्ति, ऐसा उनके अंदर भी एक, ये सब आपका काम देख के उनके अंदर भी वो देशभक्ति जगती थी. आई ऑल्सो, मुझे भी मेरे विलेज के लिए, मुझे मेरे भूमि के लिए कुछ करना है. वाओ, इट्स अ विन-विन सिचुएशन फॉर ऑल.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation. I think the money is there. Only thing they want to give it to NGOs whom they can trust, who can they can be sure genuine people whom they can trust and who can ensure that the work is done. And doing the work is one aspect. Also, reporting back is a very important aspect to the donors. So that is a very important aspect of CSR. So one is compulsorily we have to report, but apart from that, reporting to even voluntary donors becomes a very important aspect if you need more money from them. So that we are ensuring in a big way. We have got a fully set up backup office which does all the reporting to the donors from time to time on how their money has been utilized, where it has been utilized, and how it has been utilized, and what are the number of beneficiaries. We make short films, a lot of films available on the work that we have done. So that becomes a very important aspect of our CSR work.
Wow. We would like to share one of your short films even on Samipya, Rameshji. So you can send us
I will send it across to you. Yeah, I'll send you the link for it. It's all available on YouTube.
Great. So you spoke about education, you spoke about environment, yeah.
I'll
And
move
the
on to
third
the
E.
afforestation, which is a part of environment. So planting of trees is a very important aspect for our future generations. So that task we have taken up. So up to now, we must have planted about 500,000 trees already, and some specific projects like in Mumbai, in the midst of an urban area, the Maharashtra government gave us 33 acres in Navi Mumbai, which was a forest area, but due to encroachment, everything was sort of in shambles over there. So we took up this project about 3 years back. In a 33-acre plot, we have planted 15,000 trees right now, and 95% of them have survived. And trees which were planted with very small now are about 8 to 10 feet in height. And this is a very unique project because 12 corporate entities are participating over there. Each of them have been allotted a certain area, so they take care of that area. And every Saturday, Sunday, till the lockdown was announced, we used to get about 300 to 400 people over there from companies for doing work, planting, watering, cleaning up the areas, putting fertilizers. So we got one step further over there. We have created 4 water bodies. So the area is totally water self-sufficient. We have built 4 check dams over there. We built a butterfly park, a biodiversity park, a walking and jogging path over there. And this is a 7-year project. So tree plantation is important. Important aspect is plantation, but looking after it is very important. So for 7 years, we're going to look after it and then try and not hand it over to government, but still look after it, because hand over to the government, we don't know how it is going to be looked after. So,
Great. I can only say all the
apart
best
from
for this.
yeah,
Yeah.
apart from this, we have planted about 100,000 trees in Latur, and then we have done a unique Miyawaki plantation in Ahmedabad, where it's a creation. In urban areas, you don't get much area. So Miyawaki is a Japanese type of plantation where you create urban forests in a small plot. So we have planted 2,400 trees in a 800 meters plot, and this was done about 6 months back. Now the trees are already about 10 to 12 feet over there. So this is
So
a very unique way of planting.
did you say 2,400 trees in an 800 meters plot?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow. And is there some technique to it or some trick to it, or
No, there's no trick.
working on this?
It's called Miyawaki, as I said. So there is a way you do the plantation. So
Okay.
the trees grow vertically. So you do the local varieties. So the bigger trees are planted on the sides. The smaller trees are planted in between, depending on, we know historically how much height they can grow. So since they're all together, the only way they can draw sunlight is to grow vertically. And before
Wow.
plantation, you have to do certain things, dig the pit and do certain things, which is again totally organic. And again, even in the New Bombay thing, it's totally organic. Not a single gram of fertilizers have been used over there. And so this Miyawaki again is totally organic. So this Ahmedabad experiment has succeeded very well. And next we are going to do on a 2-acre plot in Hyderabad, which got delayed due to COVID. But we're going to start that very soon, maybe sometime in August over there.
Wow. Wow. Ramesh ji, this one that you're talking in Bombay, I have a feeling I've been there. Is it known as Rabale
Yeah, it's
farms or
Rabale,
something like
Rabale.
this?
Yeah,
It's
you went there
Rabale.
after the course.
Yeah.
After
So
your
yeah,
course in
it's the
Mulund, you
last.
have gone over there. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was taking a course over there, and as kind of Seva project, we went to the. It was really brilliant. It was the first
Yeah.
time that we
Yeah.
saw a butterfly farm over there, and I believe over there
Yeah.
you had trees. There were certain trees which were planted according to some nakshatra. उसका कुछ नाम ही था उसका.
Exactly. Nakshatra Garden.
Zodiac Nakshatra Garden. उसका नाम ही था Nakshatra, and there were
Yeah.
trees according to the zodiac. So people could go and sit
Yeah.
beneath a tree according to their zodiacs, and yeah. Oh, how brilliant! Yeah. Remember, it was really beautiful. Great. Ramesh ji, your education program is brilliant. Your environment program is equally brilliant. Oh, wow, I want to hear more of your studies, please.
Yeah, so we want now, the next big project we are taking up is planting 1 million trees in the next 3 years. This is being totally sponsored by Capgemini. And so this was supposed to start now, but unfortunately it's got delayed because of COVID. But hopefully we'll start in the next few months and stick to our target of next 3 years. And apart from that, we are talking to Skoda, which is Volkswagen, to plant 15 million trees in the next 5 years. So that project is in a negotiation stage right now. So this will be on an all India basis. Almost all the major states will be covered. So that is going to be a huge project which are going to take up most probably from next year onwards.
Wow, brilliant! Really, I can't wait to hear more from you when these projects take off and the end result is really amazing. You said you've had 95% success rate with the trees that you've planted. That in itself is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Yes, please tell us
Yeah,
more about
I would
the
move on to the next one, which is empowerment. This is basically what we are doing is skilling of college students so that they become more employable, basically. So the idea is final year students from colleges, we pick them up, especially from 2-tier cities, smaller cities, and train them into how to write their CVs in a better way, how to face interviews. Until this COVID thing was there, we used to take them to corporate offices twice a week in batches of 25, meet corporate people, and a lot of corporate executives have risen from small villages. So they used to talk their experience to them. The idea is to install more confidence into them, and then not only train them into this, but also find jobs for them, because these are people who don't want to go for higher education due to economic necessity. They would like to find a job as soon as they finish their graduation. And over the last 4 years, this project has been sponsored basically by Barclays Bank in India, and it's called Connect with Work. And this was one of their basic objectives, so they approached us. And in the last 4 years, we have trained about 2.5 lakh students
wow.
across India. And out of 2.5 lakhs, we have been able to place about 1.5 lakh in jobs. We have given them offer letters from companies so that if they wish, they could go and join over there, and most of them have joined. So that is a very essential part of the training and the project. The idea is not only to train them, but also find jobs for them. So this also fits in very well with the government skilling program, which is done mainly on paper, unfortunately. But this is one project where you have to submit proof of employment to Barclays, and only we then get paid for it, for the project. So that is the proof of the pudding, that children have not only been trained, but also they have got jobs. So we take the companies, till the COVID was there, we used to take the companies to the colleges and groups of colleges used to come, and the students used to appear for interviews. So now we have to change the system a little bit and do more of online interviews and ensure that the students get placed into jobs.
Wow. So this is the need of the individual as well as the need of the country.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're working at beautiful levels. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So if I move to energy now, energy, we are mainly working towards the solar energy, where in many of the schools where we work, we are giving them solar energy, so they don't depend on the MSEB power, because most of the schools have got power connection, but the government doesn't pay them for electricity bills. So you find most of the power connection have been cut because they don't pay they are not able to pay the electricity bills. Wherever they are paying, the teachers collect some funds and they manage to pay, but that is not a very sustainable option. So whichever schools we work, we try and put them on solar energy, so which is quite sufficient for their school, and also for whatever e-learning facilities and the computers that we set up over there. Apart from that, in Uttarakhand, with the help of a donor, we have done 50,000 homes fully solar energy. This was done with help of our SSRDP, Srishi Rural Development Trust. They did the actual installation part and the commissioning part, and we just did the funding for that project.
Wow. So now this is something even for the globe. This is also
Yeah,
helping the globe
definitely.
with all this.
Yeah,
Ramesh, if
yeah,
I had to
definitely.
ask, as of now, how many schools do we have which are covered under solar energy?
It's more than 75 schools right now.
Wow, that's big. That's big. That's massive. Wow, wonderful.
So that leaves us the last E. I mean, solar energy is something where a lot of work is still to be done. It has not caught on in the CSR field, frankly, right now, but we are trying to popularize it. Right now, education, skilling, and environment are the three major things which company would like to do, because all of them want to see results as early as possible.
That's right.
So, and
Absolutely.
they want to see a sustainable model. Solar energy takes a little more time and it's very capital intensive. So that takes a little more time. I'm sure we'll move towards it. Recently, I read in MP, India has set up the Asia's biggest solar plant, which is about 740 megawatts, I think. The PM inaugurated it.
Wow.
I mean, it is
Wow.
equivalent to 16 football fields. The solar panels have been set up over there.
My goodness. Wow.
So it is catching on. So I'm sure we'll be able to move on and do more on that field.
I'm
Emergency
sure.
relief is, yeah. So
Given
if you
the
move on to,
nature of, given like the scale of everything you do is only in huge, like in terms of people, it is in lakhs. In terms of trees, it is 15 lakhs. In terms of, I'm sure this is also going to be huge. When it eventually takes off, it is going to be very, very huge and big.
yeah,
Right.
definitely, yes. We hope for it, yeah. So that leaves us the last E of emergency uh, relief. So as I said, that was the main objective of IIT when it was set up. So right now we are focusing more on CSR, but not neglecting emergency relief for sure. So when COVID thing broke out, I think we were one of the first NGOs with Guruji's blessings, and it was really Guruji's idea that migrant labor should be taken care of and the daily wage earners should be taken care of. So we first kicked off the fundraising for dry ration kits. By 24th of March is when our campaign started in collaboration with some film Bombay's Bollywood associations. So that helped us to kickstart. We got a lot of donations from film stars and a lot of mileage out of it. So we could collect more than 6 to 7 crores within a period of 4 to 6 weeks. And that really kicked off the dry ration kit project. So up to now, we have done more than 150,000 ration kits in all over India. And as I shared with you earlier, about more than 5 lakh food packets. So that itself has gone to about 5,50,000 people, the food packets up to
Wow.
now. These are
Wow.
again in collaboration with local municipal corporations, local Jilla Parishad, and the government agencies. In Mumbai, it's in cooperation with the municipal corporation. In Pune, with Pune Municipal Corporation and PCMC. So all the local bodies are involved so that there is transparency. We know where it has to be delivered. They tell us where it has to be delivered, or they themselves take it and deliver if it's a red zone or a quarantine zone. And apart from that, we found that hospitals, especially the municipal and the government hospitals, the Jilla Parishad hospitals, are not able to buy the medicines immediately because they have their own century-old rules where they have to ask for 3 tenders, they have to float the tenders, and then go by tender and all that. So that takes a lot of time. So we on our own approached these hospitals, took their list and started supplying medicines, thermometers, PPE kits. One case in Mumbai, where the municipal corporation floated a tender for thermometers, infrared thermometers, and the price they quoted was 8,000 rupees, and the market price was 3,000 rupees. So we took up through the press, and the press highlighted this, and we said, we will donate the thermometers for you. You don't have to float a tender. So we donated the thermometers to them with the help of a corporate donor. So they had to cancel the tender finally. So this was not
Wow.
liked by the tender lobby, but then we had no choice. We wouldn't allow the tender to go through
Of course,
because they were
of
paying
course.
5,000 rupees more for that thermometer
Oh,
each.
that is more than it's
So
like triple the amount, triple the actual cost. It's so
yeah,
unfair at a
exactly.
time like
Yeah, yeah. So apart from this, we contacted Pune Municipal Corporation, PCMC, Sholapur Municipal Corporation, Nasik Municipal Corporation. We collated all the list. Then we also had a tie-up with MARD, which is Maharashtra Association for Resident Doctors. So they have this association all across the state. So we could even supply medicines and PPE kits to Gadchiroli, which is in one corner of Maharashtra through MART. But our focus was more on the hospitals, where up to now we have supplied material worth more than 25 crores to all these hospitals put together. And right now we are doing the oxygen pipeline for Naidu Hospital, which is one of the oldest municipal hospitals. It was established more than 100 years ago, and all the 4 floors will be connected by a centralized oxygen plant, which will be set up in the hospital, and each bed will have an oxygen sort of flow to itself. So this has been declared as a COVID hospital. So the oxygen becomes a very integral part for COVID treatment, especially in ICU and normal patients. The recovery rate they found out is 50 to 60% faster with direct supply of oxygen. So there is no fall in the rate of the oxygen flow, which is very important for COVID patients. This will be installed in the next 2 to 3 months. Apart from that, we are committed to make Naidu Hospital a state-of-the-art hospital. This is being totally funded by Atlas Copco through us. And PCMC Yeshwantrao Hospital, we have given them the oxygen set up for them also on all the floors. And apart from that, HNFC machine, which is a high nasal flow, canal flow oxygen, which is a portable one. So that has been given to hospitals in Nasik, Sholapur, and Omorga, which is very useful for COVID patients in ICU, which helps them to recover faster, and also the recovery rate has improved because of this. So we keep a constant touch with them and ensure that they get what they want, of course with the help of our corporate and individual donors. And in Thane hospitals, we have improved the sanitation facilities and also given them the liquid oxygen supply. So the idea is to ensure that COVID patients don't suffer. They get the best possible treatment. In fact, from Hong Kong, one corporate donor donated COVID testing kits to Thane Municipal Corporation, which was worth around 50 lakhs, which they use for testing COVID patients. And we also donated ration kits in quarantine areas worth more than about 3 crores up to now. So people don't have to go out. This was done through the municipal corporations, both in Thane and Pune and Mumbai, which is still going on right now in all these cities. So this in short is some of the areas which is being covered by us. The ration kits and the food areas is not only done in Maharashtra, but also in 18 states, including Jammu and Kashmir, Manipur, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, Northeast states, and in North India, South India, and Kolkata, the western and eastern part of India.
Wow, wow. You know, Rameshji, it is so refreshing and reassuring to know that there is so much of good work happening in the background, whether during COVID times, whether for rural village children, whether for education, whether for the environment, whether for the farmers. It is so refreshing to also know that there are so many helpers and donors who've come forward. It's so nice to know that so many companies and so many individual donors and sponsors have come forward. It's really, it's nice to hear these things. It's very, very uplifting. It is so, it's just so overwhelming and so inspiring to hear that one foundation, one guru can drive so much. It is extraordinary to hear all of this. That one founder can take up, streamline so many projects, so many seva activities, and this whole thing is driven by thousands and lakhs of teachers, volunteers, and wonderful people such as yourself, and so much of good work is happening. This is really remarkable. Great work.
Yeah, definitely. You know who inspires us. I don't have to say that.
Of course.
And I mean, apart from the donors who are there, definitely, I think the team in IHV, the Art of Living volunteers, have really bent backwards and gone into areas where normally I wouldn't have gone. I mean, frankly, in this COVID times.
Wow.
And they have taken risk, personal risk, and gone and delivered things, and they're still willing to do it. So I think it is due to them that we have been able to do so much. And without them, I don't think we would have been able to do what we have done.
Hats off. All our Art of Living volunteers or Art of Living personnel, I call them the real COVID warriors. These are the real COVID warriors who are, despite all the risk, they are doing this great work. So nice, so good, so brilliant, Ramesh.
Yeah.
Rameshji, if there are, by chance, there are people who want to reach out to you. One is as a helper to help you in your cause, and people who want to reach out to you to get some help. Is there a way? How can they reach out to you? What is the best way for them to reach out to you?
They can just send an email, which is the best way to contact us. admin@in.ihv.org.
So I'm hoping all our viewers today, all our viewers have got a refreshing insight onto so much work is going on in the background. It's nice to be hearing such uplifting news. Generally, we are bombarded with so many people have died, so many people have fallen sick, so many farmers have committed suicide. There is no water over here. There's the issues of global warming. The children are suffering. But it's so really refreshing to hear something like this also going on, and look at the scale at which it is going on. What is also remarkable is that all this work is going on silently. There is no noise about this. The media is not making any noise about this. The only noise we hear is about the deaths and the positive cases. And anyway, so now that we are hearing about all of this, wow, it's one more reason to know that life is a celebration, and one more reason to come forward and look at how we can take things forward, how we can help in the grand scale of things. Rameshji, a very big thank you to you. A big thank you to you. You've been such an inspiration. It was so lovely hearing all of this. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And we wish you and the entire team, the IHV team, the Art of Living volunteer, all the best. May you continue the wonderful work that you're doing. And we are really blessed to be guided by Shri Ravi Shankarji, who's guiding us on what ways to go forward, how to make the world a better place. Once again, big thank you to you, Rameshji, for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me in this program and hearing me patiently. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.